So, alien zoology. We made our little alien creature for this game. If you haven't seen that yet, check it out in my previous video, where we got some toys and we kind of smashed them together and we did what's called a toy bash or a kit bash, and we did some light sculpting and we made a little salamander kind of a creature. And I had some wonderful name suggestions from you guys. So let me list off some of those. Multiple people actually suggested Solarmander. That makes a lot of sense. It's like a salamander and it's got these large solar sails to capture the sunlight for photosynthesis. I quite like that. Solarmander is a nice name. Someone else suggested Helioworm, which I really like because it is kind of worm-like. It's kind of like a little bit dragon-esque without wings. I quite like that. Helioworm, helio of course referring to the sun. Frailizard, I thought was kind of cute. It does really sound like a Pokemon. If this were a Pokemon, that would be a great name for him. Andrew Rockwell said, maybe call it a frilled trundler. I think that's also such a cute name, frilled trundler. That just sounds like something straight out of a nature doc. Someone suggests calling it a sun gorger or a sun gorger Tarento, probably because of all of the eyes, I'm guessing, because of tarantula. I quite like sun gorger as well. And then two of the first suggestions I got were Lil Scrimbo and Skrinko, as in, oh no, another Skrinko got into the pantry. And I love that. I think Skrinko could probably be the name the natives of this planet use for these creatures. It's kind of a cute nickname they have for these. And then maybe like the scientific or like the official name could be the Solarmander. I quite like that. Creatures can have multiple names. And I think when we're dealing with like a setting, which is like a sci-fi space setting, surely lots of planets, folk from all over the galaxy will have very different names for the same creature. So I love that. Let's paint him. Check this out. So I was scrolling on Instagram yesterday. I came across this post by Grumpy Gast, and I think that is just so beautiful. It's like this pale white, but with all of these like chromatic undertones, very subtle. And so I'm gonna try to replicate something similar to that. Let's go and get this guy painted. I already knew that I wanted a lighter color scheme, so I got the airbrush and I primed it white as a foundation for later on. Makes it a bit easier when we're trying to achieve this kind of look. So I had one more look at my reference, always keep it close. And now I've got a whole bunch of contrast paints, just like some blues, some teals, some magentas, all of these undertones that I could see in the original painting by Grumpy Gast. And I'm gonna just do some light washing. You know, these are shades, I've thinned them down with some acrylic medium. And we're just going to spread this all over the model to get these nice, subtle, sort of hue shifts all over the body. And I'm trying to concentrate certain hues towards certain parts of the body. So for example, the solar sails, I want those to be more reddish, while I want the underbelly kind of to be more of a cold blue. And I'm trying to concentrate dark blues into all of the folds and edges. So this is what we got with that first stage of washing the model. And we can already see like kind of where our tones are going to be. And now we just move in and we intensify. So take some Caribou Crimson undiluted and really intensify these fins on the back and the front of his face. Now cover the base in some texture paste, let that dry. For now we're going to paint it gray later. And I'm getting back in there and trying to just diversify the hues that we have. So it was all very blue. I wanted some more purple in there, some more dark blue, some more magenta. So just making it look a little bit more interesting. And then we move on to highlighting. And this was like kind of a long back and forth with highlighting and then shading again and then doing some more highlights. I saw in the reference that the highlights were moving towards the yellow. So I mixed up like a pale yellow kind of a color. And also this baby blue, very light pastel blue for some of the lower facing areas. So this highlighting step it's also about creating texture. Because remember, this was a toy before, so there wasn't like a whole lot of small micro detail in there. So I'm creating that with these very small highlight shapes, you know, creating some little scales and some skin folds where maybe there weren't any on the actual physical sculpt, but you can create those just using paint, like faking light. I was trying to decide between two eye colors, because these are the actual eyes. I decided on this light teal color to kind of stay close to the reference. And that was day one done. Woke up bright and early next day and got right back to it. You know, I was looking at this and I wasn't super happy because I felt like it was pretty high in contrast and it didn't feel like the pale, almost white skin that I had in mind. So the first thing I did was unify all of the midtones and highlights, really like get it back to this almost just pure white look with really subtle shading. And then from there, reintroduced some washes just to get some color variation back, because that unifying highlight color made it all look very yellow, and I'm much happier with how this is looking already. And then going back in and reintroducing some manual highlights. Look at how nice he looks. That final white highlight really makes him pop. And he's done. Paint the rim black and we're good. All right. Our little guy is all painted up. Here he is. Ah, he's so cute. I didn't quite nail the reference look that I was going for. I think it's kind of hard because there's not a lot of texture on this guy. So painting toys was actually quite the challenge, because there's just not the same kind of very well-defined sharp detail that I'm used to from miniatures. So I had to kind of like make stuff up as I went along. And I, as you could see, I went back and forth with the paint job quite a bit, trying to get all of the midtones and the highlights to kind of be a bit more uniform. I tried to get as close as possible. I wanted like some translucent skin kind of. So I looked up these references here of like translucent blind cave salamanders. And I really, you can see how there's like some blue in there and some purple and some pink and some yellow and some green. So there's all of these different colors that get like refracted in all of the subsurface scattering of the skin, and that is of course super difficult to get right with paint. But you know, as like a one-off little project for this indie game Alien Zoology, I think it's great and I am happy with it. I'm going to put some of these bluish green alien grass tufts on the base, and then I'll take some nice shots for you guys. So enjoy those. And thank you so much for watching, and thanks for being here. Next time I think we may look at some terrain stuff. Have a little look through the collection. Here's the beauty shots. Bye bye.